Interviews with business owners and veteran executives who share their wisdom and expertise to help you de-stress, free up time, and make more money. Profits of IT. Welcome back to the Profits of IT. I am Jim Punzenberger, your host, and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. If you're looking for leads and appointments without cold calling or ad spend, check out managedprospectingsystem.com. Today, I have Lon Baker with me. Lon, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Yeah, I'm Lon Baker, COO at VirtualPBX.com, a hosted phone service that's been around for about 21 years. And I've been basically developing on computers since I was 16 years old, since honestly, the early 90s.
Cool. So can you tell us something interesting about yourself outside of work?
I love mountain biking. It's one of my favorite sports. I was actually doing it this weekend over on the coast of California. I just obsess with that when I'm not obsessed with my job.
Sounds like a great hobby to have. So you're literally mountain biking and looking at the ocean at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of my Mount Tam over in Marin County is one of my favorite places to mountain bike. I was doing it this weekend and it was just beautiful. And yeah, you come down the side of the mountain and you just see the Pacific Ocean. It's incredible.
It sounds wonderful. So what would you say is your superpower when it comes to business, and how can others learn from that?
My superpower that I keep being told is the ability to see both at 20,000 feet as well as down at the granular level. And I think I acquired that over the years of learning how to translate technical discussions into real world conversations with people that don't understand it. That'd be my superpower. And I think that's one thing that every IT leader or manager or developer could learn, which is learning how to translate that technical insights you have into building something or managing something or designing something and translate into terms that an average business user or just customer can understand. Often people tend to spew out a bunch of technical information to someone who really has no idea what it is. And being able to do that translation is, I think, one of the keys to my success.
Yeah. So do you have any tips on if you haven't been good at this in the past and how you can improve and to translate the technical stuff to non-technical people?
I'll use the best example. It happens pretty much once a week at my dinner table with my wife. When I try to explain to her some challenge or something I'm doing, or I use her as actually my test market sometimes, where I say, hey, we're thinking about building this new thing for customers. Here's what we're trying to accomplish in your office. How would that work? Right. And I leave out like having to explain it to her in a way that she can understand and wrap her head around without getting into all the nuances of what platform we're using and what language we're using and what infrastructure we're using and all the engineering that goes on behind the scenes. Just here's what we're trying to do. How would that impact you? And I explain it to her. Or when I have a challenging day, I'm trying to explain to her what we ran into. Translating to something she can understand. Don't see her eyes gloss over, right? Just using someone that isn't technical, basically.
So talking to somebody like your wife or spouse or a friend,
A family member, a friend, someone you run into at lunchtime, you basically talking to them about it or using them again as a test market sometimes in some cases where you're actually asking about, hey, if I had this challenge here and I gave you this, would you use that? Does that seem familiar? And I'll use an example of a recent one. A friend of my wife's came over for lunch not too long ago, and she was just buzzing with this amazing experience she had with another service around text messaging. And she talked about how convenient it was, how awesome it was. And then I just asked her a few questions like, well, how did you do that? And how did you do this? And what did you like about that? And I didn't ask her the technical aspects of like, well, how did the text message arrive? And was it on your cell phone or was it, what was it? Was it Google Voice? What was it? Right.
Yep.
And that gave us insights into our own texting service at VirtualPBX and how we're going to make some improvements in that we already started making to kind of facilitate that experience. And again, taking the real world experience, translating to technical improvements for our business and vice versa.
Got it. So Really, it's just practicing, and it just comes with practice then? Is that what the other key is to, sounds like you've been doing this for a long time. Is it just a matter of, having enough conversations that it just starts to, uh, you know, click? Or if I haven't been doing this, is that really the main thing, is just having enough conversations in the non-technical fashion? Or what can I do? Any other tips on what I can do to
Well, I would say
improve
there's
in this?
two skills, right? That aren't technical at all. It's one, listening, right? Really listening to people is where I get a lot of that kind of insight, and also learn about my own interactions with people and how to improve on it. Being a geek, right? And two, being constantly curious, right? You link the curiosity with listening to people, and often you're going to just fall right into the pattern of doing it. But you have to actually really spend some time thinking about your own ability to listen and be curious, right? One thing I'm always talking to my team about is, we're actually in the middle of something right now, a project, kind of a spring cleaning project, as I call it, which is every once in a while revisiting those existing processes or systems and not taking for granted how they're working or if they're delivering the right services anymore. And again, being curious and revisiting them with kind of an open eyes. Those are the kind of things that I think really lead down this path, but it's definitely something you have to practice at. It's easy to not do it when you're really busy, or you're busy coding something or building something with the team. Practicing those two skills of curiosity as well as listening very carefully.
Curiosity and listening. So I suppose that's
Mm-hmm.
something that a lot of us are, well, definitely listening is something that I know I can be guilty of, not acting like I'm listening, but not actually listening. So, and then, so just developing your listening skills and then asking questions with curiosity. Is that the other part of it then?
Yeah, exactly. And it's really like asking open-ended questions, letting the other people speak and give you feedback on what it is they're hearing from you, or they're thinking about, or they experience, is really areas. And I know this isn't so IT-ish, right? But it is a skill for people in the IT world to develop more. I run into it all the time in my own meetings. I'm sure everybody's seen it, especially on Zoom calls, right? It happens all the time where someone's speaking and they're not really listening. The other people aren't listening. They're waiting for their opportunity to speak, right? And
Yes.
they're not ingesting what it is that someone's saying, and then coming back with a thoughtful response or question or whatever it is. And that's a key part. I mean, and I would go one place beyond with the current work environment we've all experienced for the last year and a half or so, especially being remote. We're a fully remote company at this point. Our team spread all over the U.S. and some people overseas as well. Is listening also goes to reading, in the sense of, we use Slack internally currently for our
Mm-hmm.
internal chat. And my team knows I'm constantly, every day, I kind of scope through all of Slack and I read what people are saying. And I look for opportunities where things might be interesting to me. And that's where I get a lot of feedback from my customer service team, from my sales team, from my support team. I see something go on and go, hey, why did this happen? Oh, wait, we got a problem here that we can make this part of the interface better, for example, right? And it's kind of that, now that you don't talk always in person, right? Or
Right.
even on video calls, you kind of have to pay attention to that area too.
Got it. So it even extends to your written communication also, if it's Slack or instant messenger, email, on those forms also, I take it.
Absolutely. And kind of on our side of the world, the way we work, we do a lot of stuff with automation too. So I've even wired up automations using our platform, Slack, Zapier, things like that, in order to like trigger off keywords sometimes for me. If I see, for example, a customer complaint, it triggers, it tells me that there's something going on. I can review the details, find out what's going on, understand what the issue is, so I can get involved and improve from the top down, right? And that makes a huge difference too.
Got it. Cool. So do you have any other tips on this before we wrap up here?
The biggest tip when it comes to this kind of stuff really is also empowering the team. I spend a lot of time in our company empowering the team and making sure there is a no fear of making a mistake. And I think that's one key area in IT that sometimes becomes a problem. Now, obviously, when you're working with the infrastructure, the network switches, things like that, that's a different story, right? But when you're dealing with operations and processes and customers and even internal customers, the empowering the team in order to do things, and again, encourage them to do that thing of being curious. Hey, can I make this better? This thing that we've always done. We've been around 21 years as a company. So as you can imagine, after 21 years, there's a lot of processes that build up over time, right?
Yes.
Going back and revisiting those all the time and going, hey, I know we've done it that way all the time, but should we be doing that anymore, right? How's the world changed? How's our work environment changed? And again, that curiosity and listening to the team, listening to the customers, listening to each other helps us revisit that and rebuild those processes completely and improve both the work environment, the product, as well as the satisfaction of everybody.
Cool. Got that. That's really insightful. So if somebody wanted to get well, I guess I should ask you a little bit about VirtualPBX. Who would be an ideal customer for you guys? So if somebody's listening that might be an ideal customer for you, who would they be?
We right now, we actually target everything from 1 to about 500 seats. That's our area. We target that level, and it's every kind of small business, from a small retail all the way up through the mid-enterprise, the small enterprises. And in addition to that, we're also targeting a lot of entrepreneurs who are doing startups because of the nature of sharing with them how we use our own platform in order to do a distributed team, for example. In this day and age, a lot of people are spinning up companies and starting businesses, but they're distributed. They're not working in an office anymore. And we have the tools to help people do that. So that's probably our key focus right now.
Cool. And if they wanted to get a hold of you, either to learn more, if they had any questions regarding improving their non-technical jargon, communicating in a non-technical way, or a VirtualPBX, your company itself, what would be the best way of getting a hold of you?
You can follow my mountain biking things on Instagram at Lon Baker. But other than that, on our blog, we post things all the time, as well as I'm directly accessible to everybody at lon.baker@virtualpbx.com. I respond to all my customers and all the people that reach out to me. So I'm always happy to respond to people there, as well as, like I said, on a blog at our virtualpbx.com website.
Cool. That's great. So if anybody has any questions, they can just send you an email, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Great. So until next time on the Prophets of IT, I'm Jim Punzenberger, your host and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. Check out managedprospectingsystem.com, and bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Prophets of IT. Please smash that like button, subscribe, and share.